Today's daf is daf Chav Vav. We are going to begin at the brand new Mishnah on daf Chav Vav Oman Aleph. Nechasim. Nechasim sheish damachrai is property that has a guarantee. In other words, whenever you have land or other items that are fixed in the earth, that is the expression of the Gemara. Nechasim sheish lahem achrayis, that there's a guarantee. The Allah is niknin bekesed b'shtar b'chazavi. You either buy it either with money, a document, or with a chazaka. She'ein lahem achrayis. What if you have property that does not have a guarantee, which is achrayis, which is metalflin? Ein niknin ela b'mashicha. It's only bought only with mashicha. Nechasim she'ein lahem achrayis niknin nechasim sheish lahem achrayis bekesed b'shtar b'chazaka. Now, when it comes to property that does not have achrayis, in other words, metalflin, they could be kind of with on property that has achrayis, either the kesef, shtar, or chazaka. The metalflin is transferred to the buyer's possession when it's purchased together with the land by means of the acquisition performed by the land. Now, now, generally, one is not mechuyev to take a shvua concerning the denial of a claim with regards to land. Mishnah says, and when it comes to when there's, let's say, a legal dispute involving both, let's say, karka and metalflin, if the defendant makes a meitiv mixus with regards to metalflin, so now he's rendering himself, he has to go and take a shvua for the rest of the thing. So the halacha is that you can bind the property that serves as a guarantee, the land, that is forced to take an oath concerning the land as well, despite the fact that one is generally not obligated to take an oath of a claim involving land. But when it comes to these things, once he's made the mixus, so you can bind the nechas of sheish tamachrayis as well. Okay, so the Gemara bekasim yidalon. From where do we know that money could acquire? Amar Chizkiah says, Amar Kadabas says, Sadis bakasim yipnu. They shall acquire fields with money. Eimad, he can start. So where it says, but if this proof is from the pasuk, one can say that the acquisition is not valid unless there is a star. The chesiv is the pasuk says, b'chosim b'sefer v'chosim. It says, and write a document and sign it. So where it says, chesiv yiknu l'basev kedaris, if it would have said yiknu l'basev, like you said, hash diksiv yiknu mikara, but now that it says yiknu mikara, kesef kani, so then money is kind of star raibamel, and the document is just a proof. Amar Rav says, they taught that the land can be acquired by means of money alone without a document, only in the place with the document. The custom is that they do not write the documents. And a place where they do write documents, he does not acquire land until the document is given to him. And if he specified that he wishes to acquire the land from the time of the money transfers, punish, he has specified his wishes, and the land is acquired once the money is given. Gemara says, that Rav Idi bar Oven is oven aros, like when Rav Idi bar Oven would do when purchasing land. So he would say, he said, if I wish to acquire by means of money, I'll acquire that manner. If I wish to acquire by means of a document, I'll acquire that method. He would make a tanai at the outset that he reserves the right to choose how the transaction will be finalized. The Gemara says, what does it mean if you wish to acquire by means of money? Which means I will acquire that way as if you wish to retract your participation in a sale, you cannot retract because the money has already changed hands. And if you wish to acquire the land by means of a document, I will acquire in that way. Because if you wish to retract my participation in the sale, I can retract it provided that I have not received the document of purchase. From where do we know that a document? If you say, because it says, and write in the document and sign it, then witness shall testify, but you just said that the document is merely a document of proof. Rather, from here, and I took the deed of purchase, which is an expression that indicates that the document itself affects acquisition. They only taught this in a deed of gift. With regards to the sale, does not affect acquisition. So the buyer gives the seller money, the document itself does not affect acquisition. Raised the objection to the Brisa. How is the acquisition performed by means of a document? If you wrote it on a paper or earthenware, even though it's not a Shavaputa.
So I'm going to this toilet anyway.
Yeah. B'shtar Kate said, how is it performed by B'shtar? Kosel on the Ariel Chedes. Now, he says, how is the acquisition performed by a document? If you wrote for him on a paper or earthenware, even though it's not a Shavaputa, I feel it's sold to you, I feel it's given to you, it is sold or given, which is mashma that a document is sufficient to effect acquisition, both in the case of the sale and a gift. He asks the question, he resolved it, but if he sells his field due to poor quality. In other words, the seller wants to be rid of his field due to its decreasing value and would like to transfer ownership as quickly as possible. In this case, writing a document is enough to complete the acquisition. Rabashi says, if you can claim that the entire price is referring to one case, that of a gift, one wished to give another. And why does he write a deed for a gift containing a language of sale? In order to enhance his power. And from where do we know the chazak? It says, and dwell in your cities that you have taken. In which manner have you taken these cities? B'yeshiva, by dwelling. Which is mashma that taking possession of a land by chazaka works. Very small Tana, it says, the pasuk says, and you shall possess it and dwell in there. And how did you possess it? B'yeshiva, with dwelling. That does not, metaltalin can only be acquired by pulling. We know, for what we know, if you shall sell any item as to your neighbor or buy from your neighbor's hand, it's positive to speak of an item that is acquired from hand to hand by pulling. And according to Rabbi Yechon, says that when he affects acquisition, what are you going to say? Rabbi Yechon maintains that acquisition through pulling is only midrabanan. And metal can be acquired only by means of giving money. So why does the Mishnah not mention this mode of kinyan? So the more answer is my Tana Takanta Rabbi Katani. Rabbi Yechon could answer that the Tana teaches rabbinic takana, which reflected the acceptable practice. Is not find it necessary to mention a kinyan that applies to Teda. Mishnah says the Chasser Shem Machrayis V'Nahani Mili Omer Chisil and Makrov V'itim Lahem Asavim Ataris Amari B'Tzuris B'Yehuda, and their father gave them great gifts with fortified cities in Yehuda. It's mashma that he gave them movable items together with the cities. He did not need to give them items directly, as he was able to transfer these gifts by means of the cities he gave them. Ibaylo asked the Shaila, the Chachamim, do we require that the movable property be actually piled on the land or not? I'm going to visit on a Tashmakam and learn. Akiva says, Karka kol shu chayeves b'papeya. He says, Akiva says that, come in here, kol shu chayeves b'papeya. Any amount of land obligated in peya will be kurim on the first fruits. If they allow a prusbal, can write a prusbal, but look like some in the chasp machrayis. If you're going to say that needs tziburim, kol shu l'may chazi. So what is land of tiny size? So what can be piled on a tiny spot of land? So it says, example, if a person stuck a needle into a tiny patch of land which he sold by means of land, so the needle is acquired. Yosef says, you disgust me. Does the Tana take the trouble to teach the use of a needle? Who shall say to us that he did not hang a pearl worth 1,000 dinars on the needle? In other words, one can acquire an item of high value through the land of any size. So in any event, the question of whether or not metalpol must be piled onto the land has not been resolved. There was a Madani woman who was in Yerushalayim, and there was a certain Madani who was in Yerushalayim, and he had a great deal of metalpol. And Obikish Lithium Matani wanted to give as a gift. He was sick. He didn't have the time for the recipient to acquire the property by pulling. Amrulai, so the Chacham said to him, Ele Takana, Afshiyaklim al Gabi Karko. One of the situation has no remedy but the transfer by means of the land. he went and he acquired a Beisela near Yerushalayim and said that Tzveni Zela Plani V'Yimei Mea Tzveni Mea Chavis. He said the northern portion is given to so-and-so with 100 sheep and 100 barrels. The mason, he died. And they accepted his words, to fulfill the statement. Now, and if you're going to say that you need to have it piled up, Beisela Mai Chazi, what does a Beisela fit for? It's impossible to pile 100 sheep and 100 barrels on top of such a small plot of land. So the Ma'acher says, Misa is Beisela, Sela Mamish. Do you maintain that Beisela is referred to a place that's actually the size of a coin? He meant the term Sela. My Sela, the offers Tuba. What does it mean, Sela? A very large. A macro Sela. Why are you calling it Sela? The Kosher can sell because it's hard as a rock. Now, there was a certain person who was sick, who became sick in Yerushalayim, and the chazaka that he became sick is according to the opinion of Rabbi Lazar, says that a person or is on his shemira can transfer property only by means of an accepted standard act of acquisition. But some say he was healthy, and the assumption is, and according to the opinion of Rabbi Lazar, that a person on his deathbed can transfer property by means of a speech alone, whereas a healthy person requires an acceptance act of kinyan. He had a lot of movable property and he wished to give it as a gift. The Chacham said to him, this situation has no takana but to transfer movable property by means of land. So what happened? So what did he do? What did he do? He went and acquired the land of a Beis Reva in Yerushalayim, and he said the square handbreadth is given to so-and-so, and with it 100 sheep and 100 barrels. And he died. And the Chacham fulfilled his statement. And if you're going to say that you need to have piled up land, the property be piled on the land, for what is square, if it's possible to place all these items on such a limited space, talking about with money. In other words, he sought to give the value of the barrels of sheep, and money of the amount can be placed in a small plot of land.
Okay, then good to go.
So he says, if it enters your mind that it's that an actual group of 100 sheep and 100 barrels transfers them to the recipient through the act of exchange. If the incident involved money which cannot be transferred by some other exchange, he had no recourse but to acquire the land. Rather, what you're going to say that it's referred to money which cannot be acquired through the transfer through Mashiach. Rather, we are forced to say that the recipient of the gift was not present. And we're asked if there's no way to perform the acquisition, but let him transfer to him by means of another person. So by answers it says, he did not rely on that opinion, as he feared that the third party might seize and consume it. So what does it mean? With what decision does he not rely on? He has a remedy but to transfer it by means of land. Another conclusion, no decisive proof has been cited as to whether or not it's possible to acquire a movable property by means of a land when the item was not piled on the land.
Okay.